Good afternoon, John Macaroon, Detroit Lions on SI. Not banned. Not banned anywhere. I guess AI still loves me. So I figured if others are having difficulties, you got to capitalize a little bit. So I'll go live. I have opportunity to fill the gap from those of you that love Detroit Lions live coverage. Fill me in. What's going on? Why are all these great YouTube accounts getting shut down? I got to ask because I don't want that to happen to me. I don't want to say something stupid and get banned. I like doing this. I don't post a lot of videos on here, but I don't, like I said, admittedly, I don't know all the rules. Shout out, my mom's name is Booner, Ghetto Boy Juan. I don't know. I'm just trying to avoid those issues. I don't understand AI other than I laugh at it all. Nobody's made an AI doc yet, but we got a lot to get to. I tried for you guys. I put in an official request and when I sent it, I kind of laughed. But I said, you know what? This is serious. This is a popular show. Another reporter was in class and tuned in as I was screaming yesterday. He had to shut it off. But I said, you know what? I got to do right by my peoples. I got to do right by my mom's name is Booner, for Anakin, for Ghetto Boy Juan. I sent the email. And I said, Dear Lions, I would love to speak with Brad Holmes. I'm usually certain he likes to talk around the trade deadline. The people want to talk to the general manager. And, you know, I gave him a lot of times. I am the most flexible. I will literally bend over backwards for any guest. For any guest, I'll say, you know, and sometimes guests are like, I'll come on at 1, sorry 3, sorry 2, sorry 6. I'm like, my guys, please. Like, you're bending me over backwards here with all these time changes. But I'm very flexible. I'm very nice. I am the least difficult to deal with. I always say, guests, whatever you want, let's make it happen. And some guests will change 5, 6 times. Sorry, can't do it today. It's got to be tomorrow. And my schedule is really tight, so it's hard. So it's not like I want to talk to myself for 2 hours. I like guests, but my schedule is tight. I have small windows. So I formally asked to talk to Brad Holmes. The message came back. Sorry, Brad's not doing interviews. I said anywhere. I wanted to be clear. It wasn't clear in the response, but clearly at this point in time, as of 4:45, Brad Holmes is not scheduled to do media. I tried. I'm not really a fan of that. I don't think in his 5 years, Brad Holmes has really made a misstep with the media. Now, there could be things going on I don't know about. You know, the thinking could be, I didn't do anything, so what do you want to ask me about? I did ask Dan Campbell a direct question about, hey, do you think your guy, Brad Holmes, will ever F them picks? I thought it came off eloquently, made a lot of sense. I really didn't want to say the fans are thinking that, but that just naturally rolled off my tongue. But in the end, that was kind of code for that's what I'm thinking too. Will your guy ever F them picks? Dan gave an insight. We're going to play that answer, and we're going to react to it. It's going to be a shorter show. I'm not going 2 hours, guys. I have a radio hit in an hour, so about 50 minutes. Get your questions in. The GM is not going to answer questions about why he didn't make any trades. I don't like that. I was thinking about it when I was going to the Lions today. If I tried to manifest it, I'm like, these guys, one day I'm going to get Dan Campbell on. One day I'm going to get Brad Holmes on. One day I'm going to take that next step. I'm clean shaven. I'm around. I'm not like the Boston College reporter that shows up once a month to be the dark cloud. I'm the dark cloud every day. I'm the dark cloud that smiles. No, I'm not a dark cloud. Generally speaking, everybody that I would interview, it would come off great. And it's for you people. To me, I'm fine. But the podcast is running well. The show is good. We had the biggest show yesterday. Thank you humbly for yesterday. 10,000 views across all the platforms. Live. That's amazing. Thank you. Thank you. It means a lot that on the trade deadline, you want to come and listen to what I got to say and you want to interact. And you know, I'm not just going to talk to the air and the camera. I'm not going to bore you to death. We're going to have a conversation and it's going to be energetic. Another media member had to shut me down and turn down the volume because he was in class, popped down the stream, was like, let me see what this guy's got to say. And he hears me screaming into the microphone. That was nice to hear. Probably repayment for sharing his great column. Good dude. Good dude. So I tried to manifest it like, okay, I said, okay, would he go on ESPN with his colleagues, with other people, subscriber base where it's a little bit friendlier? I said, okay, how would you frame more direct questions that the people want? So I started to frame it in my head, but it was going to be tough. I figured Brad would talk on the radio somewhere in the next 24 hours. Nothing. As of now, it could change, but as of now, Brad Holmes is not going to address the trade deadline. I don't like that. The fans don't like that. The questions are going to be simple. I can tell it to you right now. You can, if you're listening to this, rewind it and write them down. What kind of moves did Dan say that you brought to him? Was it for a defensive player? You can be as vague as possible, but you got to answer the questions. How intense were the conversations? There's reports that, it didn't take much to get a star defensive end. Didn't take a first rounder. But Dan answered some of those questions. Dan answered the question that I asked him. He gave the real insight. But you still want to hear from the GM, how he perceives, how he's shaping things. I think that's the real first misstep that Brad Holmes made. And there could be reasons that I don't know about. And again, I didn't even say, hey, it has to be with me. Talk to anybody. Pull the friendly people aside and say, hey, ask me this. Go on with the team. I think it's a misstep. What's your reaction to, I tweeted it out, it's my current understanding that Brad Holmes is not going to show up on this podcast this week, and he's not going to address the trade deadline. But Dan Campbell did. Dan Campbell did address the trade deadline. I don't like it. That's Brad Holmes calling me right now to yell at me. Just kidding. Listen. What do you guys think about Brad Holmes not taking questions? Not really a fan of that. What's going on with YouTube? And a lot of Lions YouTubers are impacted by this new system because of their subscriber count. What does that mean? Because I have less than, I have 4,200 subscribers. What does that mean? What does subscriber count got to do with anything? I just want to avoid, it's like avoiding a topic you're not supposed to talk about. Shout out to Birmingham Andreas. That's a good dude. Funny dude. Rick Rogers. Shout out to the early birds. The Keys to Wisdom. Anakin. PPW. The Keys to Wisdom. Always good. Teddy. My mom's name is Booner. Brad Holmes did not want to talk to the doc. I get it. But one day, that's my two goals for the podcast. Brad Holmes, Dan Campbell. I think Brad Holmes should address the media, should be able to take questions from a variety of different media. What happened with the trade deadline? How close were you? What were some of the things that the Lions were interested in? But Dan Campbell did give a fair answer. But the answer that Dan Campbell gave indicates that the Lions may never be super aggressive at the deadline. It might be one or two moves here. You're not going to get high impact players at the deadline. His answer was thorough, and it was a great answer, but just not the one that I wanted to hear. He always said, couched it with never say never, but it's clearly, if you're going to get a high impact player, you're going to have to pay them. You're going to have to extend them, and you're going to have to give up a lot of capital. And the Lions don't seem to be interested in that. Birmingham Andreas wants to know, how's my fantasy team doing? Two great leagues that I'm the great general manager of. I have help from the great nephew. My nephew's great. He's the assistant general manager. I'm the big boss that approves all the deals. So two leagues are great. The family league with the nephew is not going great because sometimes, this can tie into Brad Holmes. I was willing to take a swing this year. I said, I'm tired of being average. I'm tired of being last. I'm going to try the triple combo on my fantasy team. I'm going to go Joe Burrow, T. Higgins, and Jamar Chase with my first three picks. And let's see what happens. And of course, Joe Burrow gets hurt and Cam Scadaboo I knew would blow up. He got hurt. So it's a wasted year. But like Howie Roseman says, no guts, no glory. I'm not scared. I'm not scared to be last. It's your first or your last. My fantasy team stinks. But 2 leagues are good. The one that I care about the most, I'm not doing great in. But what's your reaction? Do you think that, you know what, Brad Holmes, what's he going to say? He can't reveal specific details of players, but he could answer the more generic theme questions like I asked Dan Campbell. Like, why do you trust that the development of players you picked in the draft is going to help? What's going on with the offensive line? Do you feel like all these players in the practice squad, why is that strategy better than going out and getting proven players that have played? You added 4 offensive linemen. One of them hasn't been on a roster since September 30th. So I just think that the more you speak, the better it is. And the questions are pretty much self-explanatory. Who, what, where, when, how. Okay, good. So as long as I can get age verified, we're good. I don't know. I haven't been asked to put anything on YouTube yet. I just don't want to get kicked off. That sucks. You know, sucks for the good people like the heavyweights. But at least you get an hour of the doc. I'll be here to kind of help bridge the gap. When they come back, they can take over that 10 hours of live coverage for you guys. I'll try to give you as much as I can. That's what the doc does. If there's a lack in streaming, then you can come back to the doc. But that's the first story is I tried. I tried to get Brad Holmes. It didn't work. I don't think he's scared. He could answer my questions pretty easily. It's straightforward. But I had today, usually I go into those interview requests knowing it's going to be a no. The schedule's tight. You got to catch the right window. You got to make sure the 9 other people he likes better than me get first. But I felt like today there might have been a window. I'm like, he ain't doing any other media. Come talk with the doc. It's a fun conversation. He would laugh. Of course, there would be some praise, but there would be some direct questions. You know it. So in the end, the doc was forced to ask Dan Campbell directly. And Dan Campbell addressed it. He said there were some nuggets of things that maybe came through, but nothing to the point where it was going to move forward with a deal. For the early 300 people across 2 platforms, make sure you hit the like button. You guys hit the mark yesterday. Hit the algorithm, and the podcast yesterday did great. Let's keep going. Smash the like button if you're on X. Like, comment. What do you think about Brad Holmes not wanting to talk to the doc? Who wouldn't want to talk? I'm clean shaven now. I'm a lot more friendly. Name cannot be blank. Answers. Meaning we aren't serious about winning a Super Bowl now when they have the best chance at one ever. Let me get your early reactions. Brad won't even talk to Dave B, right? Peter, all Holmes has to do is have a presser and say he tried, but couldn't work out a deal. Is that really hard to do? I agree. What happened to freedom of speech? Speak the truth, Doc. No, I always think that they've always been polite with me. They've said a lot of no's, but I should tell them, analytically, Detroit Lions team, I've sent in 64 official interview requests, and you've approved 2. I'm starting to feel like you don't like me. I don't know how they'd handle that. They'd probably be like, listen, it's their schedule. They got meetings. They got this. They got, and then second of all, it's you. You or Danny Rodgers? Who are you going to pick? But we'll always try. And I want you to know that. We'll always try for you guys to give you the best Detroit Lions coverage possible. All balls, no D, and Doc we trust. That's right. Our little community will be honest and fair, and we'll admit our faults, and we'll speak the truth. James Brown, 63 years old, listening and enjoying the show. Shout out to you, James. Welcome. I want to see you in the comments too when I'm not live. It's great to see you. Xavier, in the last 20 years, only 11 offensive linemen have been moved at the trade deadline. It just doesn't happen. Other than that, who did we want? Well, clearly, the football guys were just laughing and trolling the Lions and their fans. Penning, combo guard, couple years into the league. And Xavier, what was crazy was, I believe, and you guys can fact check me. You guys can always fact check me. Remember, I got a lot of things going on in my mind. I'm waking up 6 o'clock every morning. I got 2 kids and working, grinding, and podcasting and doing a bunch of other things. But I believe the compensation the Chargers gave up was a 2027 pick, 6th rounder. Come on. Can't give up a 2027 5th. Come on. I don't even know if he's on the radar. Xavier, it does feel like the Lions list is too long. Right player, right price, right fit, right time, right compensation, all these rights. Like, take one of those out and be like, okay, maybe we'll overpay. Maybe we'll work on the compensation part. It's a little too strict, in my opinion. It feels like, one starter or one player that's played recently might be better than 5 practice squad guys. But what do I know? We'll see, because the Lions added a lot of guys to the practice squad. 3-4 linemen, but a guy that's been here before. But doesn't give confidence, because if they were NFL starters, they'd be starting in the NFL. Offensive linemen are coveted at a premium. Like I said, they don't get traded too often. So here's the fallout. The Lions trust their players. So no outsiders allowed. It's their party. It's their group. The message is, it's us versus the NFL world. And the fallout is, you, Brad Holmes, and the coaching staff, you tried, but, Lions fans aren't really into trying. We're into executing. We're into making a deal. But that's what happened. You didn't execute that. You trust your evaluation. You were aggressive. You have to give Brad Holmes aggressive for trading a couple 3rd rounders for Isaac Tesla. You give him credit for that. He's aggressive in the draft. If he likes a player, if you're in the Brad Holmes draft club and you're welcomed into the VIP draft circle, he'll make a move. I just feel like maybe one of us, maybe I should apply. I will be the external league watcher. Put it on me, Brad. I will watch football. Now, you have to pay commiserate with my skills. I'm very friendly, very reliable, hardworking. I will watch football and I will report to you externally who's a Lion. Now, it's going to be costly, because who's a Lion? Tariq Woolen, Trey Hendrickson, Jermaine Johnson, Sauce Gardner. I'm bringing you the expensive guys. If your salary is below $4 million, I'm not watching. I'm bringing you the guys you got to spend, where you got to gamble a little bit. You got to go to Sheila. Listen, Macaroon brought us freaking Quinnen Williams. Macaroon brought us Trey Hendrickson. But that's going to cost us Jack Campbell. So be it. Let's look for the next linebacker. It's going to cost us Brian Branch. I'll find somebody that can hit. I'll be like, Brad, I know you're nervous. I know you don't like external options. I know you don't like it. But these guys got talent. Quinnen Williams would be a wrecking ball with Kelvin Shepard. Brad, listen. You are a draft guru. I pump up Brad. You go find me that next linebacker. We're going to have a meeting. I'm going to tell you the externals, and you tell me who's the next great linebacker. Let's predict it now. Go find me that sophomore, Brad. You go tell me that, and I'll bring you the players that are going to win your I'm going to bring us some offensive linemen. We're going to get Batoni and Zeitler. Hire the doc, and I'm going to spend Sheila's money freely. And then I'm going to sit up there, and when you guys can freely say, Macaroon believes we're going to win a Super Bowl with these 4 picks. Macaroon, just say my name. This guy believes these 4 external options. We're going to make 3 external moves every trade deadline, come hell or high water. We just might do the dot plan. Every trade deadline, 1 defensive lineman or 1 defender, 1 offensive lineman, and 1 cornerback. Every single time. And the fallout is that the fan base is misaligned with the front office. Now, Brad Holmes and that roster can prove everybody wrong. The fan base, by and large, not the corny stat people, not the numbers geeks, not the people that want to carry the Lions water for some God knows reason, but the average fan, the majority fan thinks that there are multiple ways to add talent through the draft, through free agency, through the trades, and through regular daily business through the practice squad. Brad does 94% of them. He skips free agency and is not the best at it. And, you know, the Cam Suttons of the world, the Emmanuel Mosleys, a lot of misses. And then the trade deadline, which is the fans' Christmas. It literally is the fans' Christmas, and Santa Claus didn't deliver. Santa Claus closed shop and stayed away. You can't be away. So there's a misalignment. Now, if there's anybody in here that truly believes that you don't really need to use trades to help when you draft that well, the Lions have a lot of trades. The Lions have a lot of good players they picked up in the draft. They don't need to make trades. Do you believe that? I don't. I think you need to make at least one competitive upgrade like, hey, we believe. And also, too, you got to declare it. Like I said, if you go back and listen, Ray Agnew gave the best answer when I asked Brad Holmes. I'm telling you guys, and this could also be me. Remember, my job is to always spit out my ideas, what's in my head. Sometimes I talk it through. Sometimes it's right. Sometimes it's wild. Sometimes, but that's what makes me successful is that I am not afraid to speculate, share, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. There could be a belief from the front office and the Lions that they're not Super Bowl caliber. If we look at it from not a fan perspective, let's pull back. Okay? Of course, they're always every year in August going to say, we like this team. Our goal is to win a Super Bowl. Now, you go through the season, and there were concerns brought up by the outside media, which sometimes the fanboys and those that love the team and always want to have everybody calm down and never get excited about the team. They don't want to look at the harsh reality in the face. Remember, Brad's locked in this group for a long time. I'm of the opinion I want to win now. I'm not interested in 2026, but I truly believe there's going to be some chances to get to the playoffs and have success. But I want to win a Super Bowl. But now you go through, you start looking. John Morton kind of struggles a little bit. There's some bumps in his play calling. There's some bumps in the way in which the team is responding. There's some bumps in his blocking scheme. There's some bumps in the explosiveness. There's some bumps, which everybody on the outside talked about. Now they got to go through it. They got to overcome it. But also, too, you have the biggest concern that's now out there is your offensive line does not look Super Bowl caliber. It just doesn't. If the coaching staff is taking an honest look at that, they're not going to say we're not Super Bowl caliber, but they probably are sitting there going, we got some concerns. Shout out to Daniel Jacob. Man, I really appreciate you, man. That means a lot. $2 super chat. Guys, super chats are open. Always open. Super gifts. Become a member. We are growing. We almost got 24 members paying for on-demand videos for members and just supporting me, Vito, Christian, Emmett, the Detroit Lions on SI, and our YouTube content. The only YouTuber that went live every single day during training camp. There was training camp. There was Doc. I've made my staple that I want to be in this YouTube community. I was already in the podcast community, but the video community, fine. I'll accept it. I'm short, I'm bald, but I can spit out words effectively. I can share my thoughts. And there's a relatability that I know is out there. Daniel gets in. Shout out to you. Great profile pick. Will Sheila have an issue with Brad? No. Here's why. Of course, there's going to be heat to win. The issue will come in if they don't go to the playoffs. They go to the playoffs. First and foremost, I look at it like, and that's just me, this is my opinion, and it's based on how they act. I would say business and dollars are equal with desire to win. But me, I'm crazy. If I was the Lions owner, I would not have raised the prices to that degree on you guys. I would have said, all right, listen, I made $300 million this year. I can make $294. It's all about winning. I would do what Howie Roseman did every 3 months. We are dedicated to winning a Super Bowl. I'm not sleeping until I hoist the Lombardi Trophy. I can't breathe. I feel like I can't breathe until I get this Lombardi Trophy. That was the attitude I had trying to get into the media. I will not stop emailing until I get my first credential. And I got denied, I would say, a good 250 times. But I was like, then it just made me desperate. Like, I want to do this. I can be a media member as a podcaster. I felt like it was close. This was before Joe Rogan, before Pat McAfee, 2016, 17. 2016, I started emailing the Lions and the Tigers and the Pistons. And, hey, I want to get in. I want to be media. And they were like, no. And I couldn't stop. I didn't stop until I figured out how to do it as a regular, average Joe independently. So you got to be like, only I want to win a Super Bowl. That's it. First of all, money's good. Money's flowing. They're on national television. Dan Campbell is the perfect head coach for the Lions. He's smart. He's an offensive guru. He has the ability to make people feel however he needs them to feel, very honest and open. He is the perfect coach to represent the Lions. He's tough. He's perfect. Now, if they don't make the playoffs, that's going to be a problem because the fans are going to be upset. Brad has brought the Lions. He gets credit for being one of the best general managers in the organization's history. But now we're going from good to above average GM to elite. I've said this before in a previous broadcast. We're not comparing Brad Holmes to Matt Millen. We're comparing Brad Holmes to Howie Roseman, to Veach, to the winning general managers, to Les Snead. Brad's in the club. He's in the club of 5. So it's in essence like, Brad, we know what you're doing. You're a genius. Now I need you to be a upper echelon genius. Take it to the next level. And I think the next level is becoming a trader. Trader Dave Dombrowski. Remember Dave Dombrowski? That dude would turn every single minor league prospect in Detroit into something. And then you had the difference in Al Avila, who would be like, we have an asset. We're going to get a bunch of duds back. Duds. It was unbelievable. Al Avila turned wine into piss water. Unbelievably. Bad luck or incompetence in the way in which Al Avila broke down the Tigers. He turned wine and fine bourbon into piss water. Unbelievably. And then he got booted. Brad is a great GM. You will never see me say, wow, that guy added talent. He built a culture. He stood by his word. The problem is his word is missing words. Draft, develop, re-sign, and that's about it. I need the draft, develop, re-sign, make blockbuster trades, add great free agents, and job and stay out of the police blotter. So there's 2 parts missing. The free agency stuff and the external stuff, they've gotten gun shy. It's hard. But, the words that he should have said came out of Howie Roseman's mouth. I am not scared. We will trade everybody and anything. But he's going a little bit safe, which is fine. It's fine. It'll get you wins. But I don't want to listen, no YouTuber here, not me, not anybody is going to get to the playoffs and lose in the divisional round, the wild card round, the NFC Championship, losing the Super Bowl. We want wins. But the question has to be, and Daniel, shout out to you. Thank you for those that love me on Crunch Time. I'll be there tonight, screaming my head off. We'll be talking Honolulu Blue. Appreciate you, the super chat. Honolulu, BLU, 3254 with $1.99. Player development credit, GM or coach? Both. They work hand in hand. It's a universal thing. It's universal. Dan and Brad think the same. They operate the same. They collaborate together. And Dan put together a staff of former players to get the players to buy in. Beautifully done. That's the model. That's the secret. You got to have a former player that's not, run-of-the-mill guy. Dan was an NFL tight end that coached and played under some of the game's greatest coaches. Dan played for Bill Parcells. Dan was coached by, and I think he's underrated because he's so gruff, but Sean Payton is a genius. Like, to me, when I started digging into the profile psychologically of coaches, and I love reading their bios and how they motivate people, Bill Parcells, Bill Belichick, Sean Payton were the people that I started to follow. And Sean Payton's a little bit rugged. How do you not like Sean Payton? He put together and oversaw, allegedly, supposedly, found guilty, a program to hurt people. That takes balls to try that in this day and age. So Dan understood. He became an apprentice. He learned from Sean Payton, learned from Bill Parcells, and he learned from Jimmy Johnson. I have the Jimmy Johnson book, and Dan does the same kind of stuff motivationally as Jimmy Johnson. It's right in the book. I'm literally reading it going, this is Dan Campbell is a Jimmy Johnson disciple. It's not that hard to figure out. I'm a psychologist at heart. So my biggest question was, how does Dan Campbell tick? How did he get to become this great leader? Because he takes the best from the people that he knows. Smart idea. And he's a great offensive mind. And he can rally people. So it's GM and coach. But in the end, the problem is where the weaknesses it lies in player development is there's a lot of been reliance on some players that get hurt too much. And some draft picks, the mistakes that have been made, and everybody makes it. But at the National Football League level, the margins are this slim, guys. You make a mistake on Hendon Hooker, Broderick Martin, Josh Pascal, Levi Onwuzurike, Ife Melifonwu, Ennis Rakestraw in 5 years. That's the difference between 2023 and winning a Super Bowl. That's the difference, is those handful of mistakes. Maybe in 2023, you don't take a running back in Jahmyr Gibbs, you take a defensive lineman. Brock Purdy is sacked. Instead of being able to, down 24 in the third quarter, stand there, survey the field, and throw a bomb that doesn't get intercepted by Kindle Vildor, bounces off his head. So there are some mistakes. There are some mistakes that were made. So in my mind, and listen, I'm top of the line thinker. I feel like the Lions owe me a Super Bowl still. 2023 was a Super Bowl. That was a mistake. Your move in 2023 when Dan Campbell felt that team was the closest and felt really good was Donovan Peoples-Jones. You owe me one. So now I want 2 Super Bowls from Brad. Brad owes me 2023 in my mind. Honolulu Blue, hope to see you in the comments. Appreciate you for the super chat. So that's the fallout. Now, listen to what Dan Campbell said. I'm going to crank this up. It's a brightness. I asked Dan Campbell, and I said it perfectly. I said, look, Brad Holmes. Brad Holmes came from the Rams. F them picks. Do you think Brad Holmes will ever do it? Because I think if you just tell us, listen, we're not going to do it, we probably will lower our expectations. I think Dan should have just said, listen, he kind of said it, but I think Dan should have just said, guys, F them picks is not really in our wheelhouse. He should have shut it down. But every year, that last part, never say never, opens the door again for everybody to wonder, when's he going to do it? So again, the fallout is, does Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell think this team is not a Super Bowl caliber because you have offensive line issues? Aha. They can't say that publicly, but logically, listen, we don't have to blow smoke up the Lions' ass. They have a good team, but they got offensive line issues, which we're going to talk about. This video is courtesy of Crunch Time Sports via the Lions. Crunch Time always knows to find the questions from the doc because the doc asks the interesting questions. And now they've decided to mic us up so that you can hear my beautiful questions. And this pose you see from Dan and the coaches, that's always me. Down and to the left. That's going to be the pose, is down and to the left. And so my question was pretty straightforward. It was, Dan, You work for Brad Holmes. Brad worked for Les Snead. Les Snead F them picks. I never saw F them picks I don't see that philosophy with you guys. Is that going to happen? The fans want to know, which is really code for I want to know. What is your reaction to what is your reaction to what you hear from Dan Campbell? There is a phrase that he says that tells me they don't push. There's a phrase he says, you'll hear it. Dangling hope, Brent. Shout out to you. Shout out to you, man. Appreciate you guys. 300 people in here. It's cool. Again, about 25 more minutes or so. Get your questions in. Super chats are open. Hit the like button for me. Again, this hour you can always rewind. Tell me what you like, didn't like. I feel like we've shared the fallout together. This is Dan Campbell. This is the pose that the coaches should look when they're look at Dan. No smile yet. He's like, oh God, what's going to come out of his mouth? What is going to come out of Macaroon's mouth? He's thinking it right that very second. That's the pose. Dan is thinking right that very second, what is going to come out of that man's mouth? And he's got to listen. Thankfully, I got it in. Nobody, this question, a lot of times when I start questions, there's two people talking at the same time and maybe some things are missed. This is not missed. This is me asking Dan Campbell about F them picks.
Do you ever think that he might ever take a F them picks approach and just give multiple picks up for high impact, high intensity players? Because a lot of fans are thinking about that.
Well, I think that, man, if everything about it was right, you know, when you start talking like that, like throw all the picks away, that's a lot. I mean, it's a lot of capital, especially with the guys that we've got that we're signing and we want to continue to sign to keep what we have intact. You know, now you're not only you're throwing the picks, you got to pay that player too, probably. Otherwise, why are you throwing all the picks at a guy that you're buying him for a year? And so then it really kind of everything that we planned for, you just might as well throw it in the trash, you know? So I don't want to say never. There's not a never. I mean, look, Brad and I have had conversations about this. Isn't like we just say, well, what if? No, we're not even going to talk about that. We talk about everything. We do. We sit there and I mean, we've thought about that before. What if we did this, this, and this? I mean, these conversations come up, but he and I both agree that that this is how we proceed, man. This is how we go about our business, and we have a long-term approach. But I'll never say never.
Do you ever think?
So there you go. That's the nugget at the very end. And Dan talks the way I do. See, now when you wonder why John's a fast talker, because I'm drinking caffeine, cold brew from the station here, Great Lakes. It's really good. So Dan answers the way I answer. Quick face. When you're a high motor thinker, you got a lot on your brain, you just start talking. Today, if you hear me ask Jared Goff, I was fast talking Jared Goff. He had to go, say that again? I asked Jared Goff today about the screen and then the second time I slowed down and enunciated. Jared, the screen passing game. How do you fix it? He gave yeah. Right. That's right. Yeah. See, you guys know me that I have to be professional in the media room because we're like, yo, Dan, listen, F them picks, baby. Right. Kevin Jeffrey, Brad loves shopping at the practice squad Dollar Tree. Ghetto Boy Juan, Doc, your professional voice is hilarious. Right, because you guys know me. That's the funny part, is the Doc is in the room as a man of the people, the people's man, the people's podcaster. I'm like, Dan, listen, fuck them picks. We don't care about your draft picks, bro. We don't care. Like, we don't care. Me and Ghetto Boy Juan don't care about your draft picks. Get us players. Get us ballers. Where are the more ballers? You got a lot of them on your roster, but at the trade deadline, you owe us a baller. That should be a requirement. Every team should get one baller at the trade deadline. It makes the fans happy. What's your reaction to what Dan said? And if you feel the need to say that was a good question, I feel like it was one of the more important ones of the day. It got written by a couple people, so I felt like it was a good question. And again, that's what I wanted to know. That was what I wanted to know from Dan Campbell. He answered it honestly, but he dangled the carrot. But he said something. He said, we take a long-term view. So Dan Campbell is taking the view that a lot of smart fans have, which I respect. You get more cracks at the apple to win a Super Bowl. The better your team is, the more chances you get to the playoffs. But I'm starting to get scared, guys. And I never hide my fears. I'm scared we're looking at the Steelers. A very good team gets into the playoffs 5, 6, 7 years, but always something that keeps us from winning a Super Bowl because it's so hard. Dan didn't have to say, that's how I would answer it. Never say never. He didn't need to say never, say never. He should have just shut me up. He should have just said, listen, we don't think that he should just said, John, we build through the draft. Giving up 2 first-round picks doesn't make sense in our system. I get it. Les Snead did it. Great. But does that mean if Brad is willing to do it and he didn't do it, naturally anybody smart is going to say maybe he doesn't believe the team is Super Bowl caliber. When you have an offensive line that's struggling, there's an issue. And I think that's what we're going to analyze. Shout out to Brandon Peters, $4.99 super chat. DOC, OCD, nope. Was ODC all along. Obviously don't care. In a way, they don't care about and prioritizing external trades. But we have to keep it in context. The Lions have done a swell job of adding talent. But I agree with a lot of fans that say after Monday and Tuesday, their belief that this team can win a Super Bowl with the offensive line playing bad, having lost to the Vikings in the manner in which they lost, having other teams kind of maneuver, maybe being already a little bit better. The Eagles with Devonta Smith and A.J. Brown. The Rams have Stafford, and Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams have chemistry. Puka Nacua has better chemistry with Stafford than J-Mo does with Goff. Devonta Adams has better chemistry with Stafford than J-Mo does with Goff. So, and you're going to play these teams. You're going to get 2 Super Bowl tests, Eagles and Rams on the road. Good. Hopefully you split. No, Brad Holmes cares, but his vision is, and I respect him for trying it. The vision is we like the evaluation. We like to know our people. We like to know who we're paying. It's a lot of money. All these guys that get big deals are draft picks. Now, if this doesn't produce a Super Bowl, he has now put on the table why. He loved his own people way too much, and he didn't understand the value of some of the other talent, that talent trumps all. It has been always my belief that talent trumps culture. Get me a guy that runs 4-3, that can catch the ball, that can learn 5-6 systems and go out and ball every single week. And I don't care if he speeds at night. We'll clean that up. You go ball, score touchdowns, hit the quarterback, sack the quarterback. Brad got a guy that whiffed on interceptions and got in legal trouble. Cam Sutton, if the Steelers let you go, that was a whiff. That was probably on Aaron Glenn. Brad was like, I listened to that, Aaron Glenn. I got Cam Sutton. Look what happened. Aaron Glenn, I would say, no, I'm speculating. Aaron's not here. I'm speculating Aaron went to Brad and said, hey, that's my guy. Oops. Brad's like, I'm not doing that ever again. Aaron said Emmanuel Mosley. All these cornerbacks that came in that couldn't do nothing. No, they care, Brandon. Thank you for the super chat. They care, but it's an organizational philosophy that the fans don't like. We like to, we here in Detroit, we like Howie Roseman style. Howie Roseman, it's so weird how the football gods treated us. It was so weird. We wanted offensive linemen. Dan says it's impossible to get. They're very tough to get. And the one guy that gets traded for nothing. Nothing. Penning to the Chargers. And he seems talented. You weren't willing to give up a 2027 sixth rounder or better to get a player that from a place Dan Campbell likes? What was your reaction to what Dan Campbell said? We have a long-term view. Long-term. Yeah, he likes winning in the regular season, but we're dying for a Super Bowl one. And I think the majority of the fan base would have liked it this year, even with the offensive line, because this is year 5. They would have liked it. Now, doesn't mean it's right. They would have liked it if they would have said, okay, let's get Hendrickson, Rick Woolen, Garrett Wilson, and Logan Wilson, per se, a linebacker that you like. Let's get 4 guys, and we're going to sacrifice the next 3 years. If we don't win, fine. We're going to have some cap peril. We're going to struggle in 26, 27, but we'll be back in 28. The fan base would have liked that if the Lions went all in, got to the Super Bowl, maybe won it, maybe at least had the best chance. And if you don't take it, and Brad Holmes says, guys, this is the year, and challenge the team. This is the year. Amon-Ra's in his prime. We know we're going to get better out of J-Mo. We're going to figure out this offensive line. This is now. This is the time. Put the pressure on Dan Campbell. What, do you think Dan's not going to handle it? The fan base wants to go now. They're not writers or bloggers that are like every single year going to sit there every single year and be like, we love the draft. We love what Brad does. Everything that we have 4 or 5 people just tweeting all day. The Lions were averaging 9.4 yards per carry. Now they average 6. It's still really good in the league. Nobody cares. Nobody cares about your nonstop tweets about your stats. Nobody cares. They care about their general manager stepping up to the plate like Howie Roseman and saying, I will die to win a Super Bowl. And now I'm going to give Dan Campbell the best defensive end that's out there, a wide receiver from the Jets who probably needs to play with a real quarterback, a linebacker, and an offensive lineman. Dan, I'm bringing you. You sit up there with Ray Agnew, and you go, guys, ask Ray one question so he doesn't just sit here all day. One time, you put it out there and you say, Dan, this is your players. I think this is the team that's going to win the Super Bowl this year. Go for it. The fan base, I think, would respect you more. And if it doesn't work out, you tried. Because we believe that, okay, next year's a wash. You draft 5 players, 27, you draft 5 more players, you come back in 27. We believe that you can rebuild a team every 3 years. Nobody is gonna hate on you. This is like slow torture where what's been activated psychologically, and I'm an expert at this. The Lions fans are feeling teased. You're taking a lot of their money. You're taking a lot of their hope. The BS writers that don't understand any sense of psychology or sports are telling you it's fine. It's not fine. The offensive line has a hole. You're generating pressures, but you have the pass rush win rate not great. Linebackers are doing their thing. So the fan base wants instant gratification. They deserve it. So you botch it this year. You have to give up Branch. You have to give up Campbell, Laporta. Fine. Go find the next ones. Cheaper. Daniel Jacob, man. Proud of you, man. Thank you. Man, that's really nice. That's really humbling, man. You make it, even though I'm tired and these are long days and I'm not used to broadcasting daily. You make it worth it, guys, with the support, the comments, the smart comments that we get. 98% great comments, a couple small percentage of haters. It's the best way to be. Daniel, want to support your staff and you, Doc. Not sure if this was brought up before, but in my opinion, I think they really don't believe in the offensive line. I heard a stat today that was bad. Average run yards in 2025. That was bad. Average run yards in 2025, 150, 2025, 120. That's bad. I get it. You're noticing that the running game has been greatly diminished. It's changed. Thank you for the support of the staff. Yeah, that's what it does. All the super chats go to the staff. You get your stuff read. I'll leave it up there. Yeah, and guys, there is a concern regarding John Morton's ability to create a dynamic running game. That's what caused him his job. That was an issue in New York. So I did bring it up. I teased it a little bit. Because behind closed doors, now any average thinking person that's not a slappy is going to say, yeah, they like the team, but maybe they don't believe that they're really Super Bowl caliber to support it that way. Because the offensive line's busted. They didn't expect Taylor Decker to get hurt, to struggle. They didn't expect Frank Ragnow, the impact to be as rough as it was. For them to not able to be able to handle A-gap blitzes, it's pretty rudimentary. It's going to happen on a rep. But throughout the course of a game, you're absolutely right, Daniel. I believe in what you I believe in what you believe. That's what I opened. It's a banner, I think. I have the banner here. Let's see if I have it. Yeah, I made a banner. So you're absolutely right. That offensive line is the hub of the operation. It's the hub. And it's not well. It's not performing well. I don't know I think Dan Campbell saying reshuffling might have been some coach speak, because we talked to Tristan Colon today and he said that he took his normal scout team reps. Graham looked, if you guys see the YouTube video, look at Graham. I don't know if they air it. He goes, that's news to me. He said he's going to play. Like we asked him, we go, Dan said you're going to play left guard. And like, he looks at everyone, he's looking at us like, huh? That's news to me. So I think a lot of sometimes what Dan says is fun, playful in the media to say it. We write it and then it's different, gamesmanship. I don't think you shuffle the offensive line at all. Daniel, man, my friend, thank you for the super chat. It means a lot. 2 of them in the same day. The support is warranted. It makes it worthwhile, man. Thank you. So shout out to you, your family, your crew. You got a spot here, man. If you like something, you don't like something, feel free. Say whatever you want, man. Appreciate you. Shout out to Daniel Jacob. Can the Detroit Lions offensive woes be fixed? My last 7 minutes or so. I am concerned about the offensive line. You got Coyote Awosika probably going to play left guard, Graham Glasgow at center, Tate Ratledge. You can't just say, hey, we're going to throw Coyote in there and it's going to be fine. You got to see how the Commanders choose to attack the Lions offensive line. The Lions offensive line has to be fixed. Otherwise, this thing is going to collapse. It messes up the timing. It messes up the run game. It messes up Jared Goff. I feel like this is going to be a storyline for the year. Taylor Decker getting hurt and not having his surgery really work the way he wanted to is a concern, in my opinion. What do you guys think? If you shuffle it, maybe you have Cologne at center and Graham at left guard. So this is what Jeff Risdon said. Smart guy. Very fair speculation, but I don't know if it's going to happen. Jeff gets in. Smart dude, radio host, writer. Lions fans aghast at no offensive line moves. My thoughts. Nobody better than Tristan Colon was available. Consider him the new OL. I would start Colon at left guard, Egwakun at center, move Glasgow to the bench. We know Graham ain't it no more. Let's see what others can do. Suboptimal, but something. Jeff is smart. He watches film like everybody else. What do you think about Jeff Risdon's comments? Woo! What do you think? If you did shuffle it, I think that I feel like they want the veteran Graham Glasgow, but he's got to step up. Graham had a bad game, but you feel like he's entitled to a couple more chances. But if it doesn't, boom, he's out. First man out, Graham Glasgow. He hasn't been good. And I know the media likes him. He's very funny, very affable, but he hasn't been great. The interior of the offensive line hasn't been as good, up and down. You can't have that in a timing-based offense. This offensive line is the engine. This is a problem. The offensive line is the story of the week. Everybody's going to write. We talk to the media. I don't like writing offensive line stories personally for the site, but I think I'll give it to Vito or Christian for tomorrow. But you probably can read it now. M Live or anywhere else. Tristan Colon and Graham Glasgow talked today. They're nice dudes, smart dudes. Nice dudes. All right, let me get to some of your comments. Shout out to the 425 people that listened today. And again, this can be replayed on demand. For the hits, Duncan Stewart, Attila the Hun, Brent DeWitt, Corey Patterson, Donna. Let's give Donna a shout out here. I would have been happy with Andrew Wiley. Trade for him. Donna with the cat. Appreciate you, Donna. Attila the Hun, Smoke You Some, Shane D, Duncan, appreciate you guys. Kevin Jeffrey, Terrell, all of you listening. Corey Patterson, my guy. Brent DeWitt, always a shout out to you as always. Thank you guys for listening. We get to some of your comments before I get out of here. The comments I want to hear today that I'll engage with, and remember, not only do I do these videos, but I take an hour a day. My day is compartmentalized at work to the minute. Go check the comments. Go check the difference between me and others. You see a comment on a post, you will see a blue circle that says on SI. That's me. I read your comments. I love your comments. And then I answer them. You are talking to John Macaroon, the human. The human being. I take 60 minutes a day, no less, every day to answer tweets, direct messages. There's going to be very few fans that say I direct message Doc and he didn't answer me. I answer them all. There may be a day I can't. But until I fall over, I will answer every single question and comment as much as possible. One may slip. Try again. Put a cap. DOC. If it's really important, that's the code. Capital DOC. I'll see it and I'll answer it. I love you guys. You guys made me. For those of you that say I'm an egomaniac, you guys made me, not the other way around. You guys supported me. You guys support the channel. You guys give super chats galore. But just go see the difference. Does the media answer questions like that? That's the difference. Should I do my radio interview on the show? I don't know. I don't even know if that's allowed. Should I take the call from the radio station, Huge, on this podcast, or should I just hop off hour in? Should I take it? You'll know the question. Should I do the radio interview? You'll hear how I do radio interviews. Should I do it? I thought about it, but I'll let you guys decide. Do you want me to end the stream at 5:45 when they call, or just take the call and talk into the camera? I don't even know if that's allowed, if anyone's ever done that before. Do you want to hear me doing radio interview? And I do as many interviews as possible. The only two I won't do the Lions podcast, and I won't do the radio pregame for the Lions. 2, 3, 4 years of making me wait is not nice. So I waited for the invite. It's not coming. I'm going to say no if they ever do. But I'll go on any other show. Anywhere. The best is today, the Lions podcast invited the guy directly next to me. Hey, are you ready? I'm going to be like, you see me? It's been damn near 5 years, Tim. Listen, I know I don't travel. I know you don't see me on the road, but I'm right here. I'd bring you listen, I'm going to do this right now. The 5 minute of ego boost. I would bring that Lions podcast the biggest ratings it ever had. The biggest. It would have the biggest audience and the biggest reaction in my own mind. Do you want me to do the radio interview on here? I got 5 minutes left before they call me up. Grand Rapids. I love the West Side. Attila the Hun, for the hits. Attila, I see you're arguing everywhere with a bunch of people except for Dan's page. You think everyone else is wrong and you're the only one right. Ooh, chat on chat crime. Gotta like that. Habibi, we love you, brother. Appreciate your honesty. And that's the thing. That's what makes me successful. I'm honest. Could be wrong, but I'm honest. I'm not elitist. I'm not an egomaniac. I'm me. Take it or leave it. Some people think I have a big ego. And then I said, you have a big ego. Should I stay on and then stay on for the interview? You'll know the answers. Hopefully it's going to be about the deadline. The best part is that I never asked for what they're going to ask me. So I hope I hear it. All right, I'll stay on. I'll stay on, and you'll see how good I am at the radio interviews. You guys can chat. They're going to call me up at 5:45, and it'll go for like 10, 15 minutes. Cheers to you, Doughboy. Yeah, Doughboy. 2 friggin' rookies for Graham to look out for. Whew. Oh, the interview might be short. I got a text just a few minutes behind. So it might be like, I might be like a 6-minute segment at the end. Just a few minutes behind. And see, my professional answer, no worries. Now, that's the professional me. See? No worries. That's them live texting me, hey, sorry, we're a little bit behind. Now, The professional me is like, no problem. Whatever you guys want. No problem. No problem. I'm easy. Now, that's the professional side. Now, the real side is like, you booked me for this time. What do you think is going on? You think my time is free? I'm busy. I'm on the air. But that's what people do to me. And so if you ever wonder why Doc is a little ornery, a little bit gruff in his answers, not as nice for the minute, it's because all day long I deal with that. Hey, I'll do this, but I'll do that. I am not like that. You book me for 5:45, I call you at 5:45 directly. That's why the podcast has been successful. I book guests, and when you tell me to call, I call. It's going to be on thehugeshow.net. You can tune in now on the internet. I'll tweet it out. Say, hopping on. Thehugeshow.net is on like a bunch of weird stations and the West Side. I don't know their affiliation, but you can check out online live. Hopping on The Huge Show. Let me tag them soon. Huge Show. To talk Lions. And then if you go check the Twitter, you'll see the link to go to. He's a good dude, Michigan guy, but good dude. He likes me. His producer in Some Small World shares the same birthday as me. Superfly shares the same birthday as me. Crazy, huh? It's thehugeshow.net. Broadcast all over the West Side. A lot of affiliates. The Michigan Media Network. They're independent, but they syndicate all over the place. Pretty soon, I got to ask them. I got to be like, I've asked them. I said, hey, if Huge is out, I know you like Jeff. Throw me a bone. I'll host the show. They're probably like, oh, you might send us into the FCC hell. Shane D, with an above average offensive line, I would trade some picks. I understand the frustration. Doughboy Steve, Doc is like sitting and BSing at the barbershop. Yeah, that's how I podcast. That's how I talk. Just BSing, shooting the breeze, needling. Today, I needled Will Birchfield. I said, Will, the sun came out for Boston College, it looks like, huh? 1-8, but things are great, according to Bill Bryan. He gets it. That's a good dude. Others might not even get the joke at all. Others might just stare at me. Like, why are you besmirching my personal space with these kind of comments? Because I want to. A lot of robots sometimes. It's okay. Different personalities, man. I was like that in my 30s. At 46, I don't care anymore. I say what I say. I apologize when I need to. I just let it fly, baby. I don't care. And you know what's crazy? Is if you look at it, me and Brad Holmes are the same age. I'm looking a little younger than Brad. Brad's been putting in the hours. I was like, wow, me and Brad Holmes are the same age. He's way more mature than I am. So, me and Brad Holmes are the same age. So Doc and Brad Holmes walk into a bar. Doc says, you buying, right, Brad? Steve. Let's keep it honest. You getting high over there? Let's see. I'm curious what they're going to ask me. Probably the deadline. They always ask me about matchups against the Commanders. I'm going to tell them they're going to kick their ass. Like I always do. I tend to be a little more positive on the radio. Steve O, baby. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. First shout out to you. You'll get another one tonight. Shout out to Steve O, baby. It's his birthday. Everybody tag Steve O and tell him, yo, happy birthday, brother. Guys, I tried to smell what Brad Holmes was cooking. It smells raw. Want proof? He made a trade last year. Now he retired. I said that last night. I said, he made a trade. He wore himself out doing all that investigation, all that clinical typing, all that psychological work. He's like, damn, I don't want to do that no more. No, that's it. Damn. Steve-O, we're in the same wavelength. He's like, I don't want to go through that. That was a weird comment. I think I said that yesterday. I said, how does it take all that much work to get Zadarius Smith? You call him up, you look at the film, and you say, hey. That's a lot of work. I'm telling you, that's why. And it's not an insult. I do think he's working his way to be a GM. He's a scout. He's a college personnel evaluator. But you're not that anymore. You are a general manager. General manage the external options too. General manage free agents. You got to general manage the entire operation. That's the way it goes. I'm sorry for all the YouTubers experiencing problems. I'm not yet. So find the stream, like the stream, support it. Get us to another 100 likes. Smash that like button as much as possible. Become a member. It's $5. It supports the cause. It helps me continue to keep 3 strong journalists employed. Vito Churko with a great column about. Also, too, give me a review of Vito's columns. Read them. When there's something to be said and we write opinion on X, those are from Vito. What do you think of Vito's Brad Holmes column? Was it too harsh? Did it strike the right tone? I love reading his stuff. He is on par with the great columnists in town. And it's not because I love the dude and he's been with me for almost 9 years. I like how he writes. He's thoughtful. He's logical. He's clean. Doesn't need to be edited all that much. He's a nice person. At Vito Jerome is his ex. I tag him in all his columns. He writes good opinion pieces for me. Emmett Metavosky, hustler, grinder. Covers Michigan State like they're the Chiefs. Jonathan Smith. He writes, Jonathan Smith, 9 tweets. Like, bro, nobody cares about Jonathan Smith tweets. But keep doing your thing. He covers that team like they're the Chiefs. I stay in the loop with Spartan Avenue because of Emmett Matavosky and Christian Boer. Coach Boer. He's a good person, good dude, good human, nice person. Now he's not working as much for us. He's writing consistently, but not doggedly like he used to be. That's the team. Ghetto boy Juan can't wait till Smith gets fired. Same. And I love about the stream is that it steadily grows throughout the hours that we've done. Man, I'm getting the last segment of the show. It looks like I'm getting the last segment of the radio show. It looks like I'm going to get 6 minutes. I'm going to close out his show if they call me. They're calling right now. Here we go. This is Doc on the radio. This is John Macaroon. What's up, Superfly? I'm doing great, man. Covering the Lions. About to go on the huge show. It's going to be a fun time. Okay. 4 minutes. 4 minutes of greatness. Someone give you Superfly. Let's do it.
Thank you to all of our heroes. That's active duty military, police, firefighters, EMTs. Remember, you can nominate your heroes, and we do shout-outs every Friday between 3 and 6. Nominate them. Add Huge Show on Twitter, The Huge Show on Facebook. Just like John Macaroon, straight online. Podcast. Get Sam and Bob. Caught up for Lions injury report. Tonight. School did not practice. Necker did not practice. Employment. Airlines.com did say they talked to the school that he's feeling better, expecting to play on Sunday. So, Johnny, here we are. Biggest story of the Lions is watching those injuries.
Absolutely. You look at the Detroit Lions offensive line. I was just sharing with the Detroit Lions Lone Wolves podcast crew that, this offensive line struggled against the Vikings. You really were surprised that they were not able to handle a simple A-gap blitz that every single team in the National Football League is able to accomplish. You lose left guard Christian Mahogany to an injury for the next handful of weeks. He's now been placed on IR. It's unfortunate. Taylor Decker, he's been week to week in regards to his practice time, but he's been grinding through. Penei Sewell, thankfully, when he went down, everybody was concerned. But to be able to have him back is going to be key because there could be some shuffling. The biggest key, in my opinion, Huge, is that Graham Glasgow is really struggling at center. And when you look at the engine of the operation, if the offensive line doesn't get it together, this entire Detroit Lions season could be derailed. Absolutely. And you look at it, I shared on Detroit Sports Podcast Twitter page before the season at Detroit Podcast that when John Morton was dismissed, when he was the former offensive coordinator of the New York Jets, the biggest issue was he did not develop consistently a run game. And now he comes here and everybody was really enamored with the fact that he was here before, the fact that he has a lot of experience, that he was a former wide receivers coach. But there's been a learning curve. And part of his responsibility is getting that offensive line to execute. And for the running game, huge. I'm looking at the sheet right now. In the first half, it was 10 rushes for 25 yards total. That's unacceptable. You got Jahmyr Gibbs, a Ferrari. You got David Montgomery. The simple fact that in that game against the Vikings, you had Jahmyr Gibbs in pass protection 15 times is unacceptable. It's wild that the offensive line has not been as good as advertised. Look, they may not be the best in the league, but for them to have miscommunication issues multiple times this season and to have miscommunication issues at home has been a big concern. It's affected the run game. It's affected Jared Goff. Goff, huge, is on pace to be sacked the most times in his career. You're playing with fire. If Jared Goff keeps taking hits because the offensive line can't block and the running backs don't block as effectively, it's going to derail the rest of the season, including seeding, maybe even getting into the playoffs. If you do have to go on the road, it's going to be a big problem. You're absolutely right. Not to panic, but that offensive line has to get their stuff together. No doubt this week it's a comeback game and they're gonna thump the Washington Commanders. Get right game, but yeah, a lot of issues to correct, starting with the offensive line. Four minutes on the dot. These radio guys are professional. How did I do? 4 minutes on the dot. That's what I do. I'm flexible. I bring the energy. I sound smart. And that's why I'm on the list of 9 different shows to call. And I love doing it. I've always wanted to be on people's shows. Now, this is the 5 minutes where I complain before I get out of here. First of all, how did I do? Good energy, good flow. Now, I always go back. Every interview, I text the producer, Superfly, thank you for having me. Getting a little inside knowledge here. Superfly, thank you for having me. Superfly, thanks for having me. Now, I'm great with all producers. They love me. A lot of times, sometimes I'll say no. I'll say no because I'm in the locker room, as you see the videos posted. But 99.9% of interview requests outside of the Lions, I'm going to say yes. I'm never, I don't think, going to appear on the Tim 20-Man podcast. There's probably a chance I never get invited. On some level, it hurts, but that's okay. I've been on 1,000 shows. Maybe McAfee's next. Maybe the bigger ones are coming, but I love doing radio interviews. I love talking. This is what I've made my career. Steve-O, baby, exactly. What happened to Woodward Sports? I trumped them. I wiped them off. The doc went live. They took a dive. No, they're having some YouTube issues. I don't know. They just need a YouTube vacation. So they can step aside and I'll fill in. There's some AI algorithm. They got banned for something. I feel bad. You know, you got a whole operation that's just shut down for something you can't control. That would piss me off. That would piss me right the hell off. But I think probably a week suspension for them, maybe 7 days. I don't know. It's an algorithm. Maybe they'll be back tomorrow. Did I do a good job replacing for this 75 minutes? It was funny, too. I had the banner, can the Detroit Lions offensive line woes be fixed? And the topic that Huge wanted to talk about for 4 minutes was the offensive line. He said the questions were, you know, the injuries, the injury report that came out with Sewell and Decker not practicing. And then he said, I don't want to panic, but they got to get it right. How did I do? If you were listening to that commentary on the radio, would you still listen? 97.1 should have been having me as a guest, but they believe that guests that are callers tune callers out. It's because you got boring ass listeners. You got boring ass interviewers. You got to ask the right questions with the right guest that has energy, that knows something. I think I could be a guy that could carry 8 minutes on the ticket. But that's just me. So the Lions, like I said, they haven't invited me on the Lions podcast officially on the team website. They've invited everybody. Today was the guy next to me. I was sitting there typing, acting like I wasn't listening. You could just throw out a charity invite and then cancel. But it's reserved for the beat writers that travel. So today, what I want you to comment on, what'd you think about Brad Holmes not speaking to the media? His first misstep, I think, in terms of addressing the peoples. The Lions didn't execute a trade. Dan Campbell's answer. Go back, listen in, tune in to the commentary, and check it all out. Check out the podcast, like all the stuff, go through, like spree. Thank you for the subscribers. Just news of the weird. Hendon Hooker got cut. I think his NFL career is in deep doo-doo. All right, one last look of the chat. Doughboy Steve, Terrell LV, Steve O baby, happy birthday to Florida. Patrick O, Corey Patterson, Kevin, Ghetto Boy Juan, Perry. It seems like Holmes is not listening to Dorsey. I think they are. I just think that too, to present the other side, there was talent, but if the asking price was too high, the Lions maybe a combination of feeling like, let's just roll with what we got. We got a good locker room. Let's just roll with it and see what happens. But I'm doubting the Super Bowl caliberness of this team. So their job is to prove me wrong. I hope they do. And Steve wants everybody to know the very bottom line truth. He's a facts-based person. He wants everybody to know that I'm sexy. They call me the DOC. Like I said, it was a good day in the media room. Jared Goff, I asked Jared Goff a question. Aiden talked. The theme this week, okay, I do got another complaint. I'm not certain that the media has the producer brain that the doc has. It's not their fault. Either their editors are ADHD and forget the themes, or they're not paying attention to the consumer. I am a consumer of media. That's what makes me successful. I have a producer's brain. I create all the topics. I know what I want to talk about. I can create 3 topics and talk for 2 hours on it. The Lions lose, and they've lost 3 times now this year. And the media is struggling mightily to understand how is it that the Detroit Lions keep rebounding after a loss. They asked it again today. Go back and listen. Let's see if they keep doing this. This is going to be our little secret, because it keeps gnawing at me that they're literally asking the same theme question to people that have already answered it. These are high-functioning, smart people. They know football plays. They know that you've asked it. You guys have, the media has asked Dan Campbell. Today they asked Scotty Montgomery and David Shaw. David, you've been around this for so long. How does do you guys, what do you guys do so that you don't lose 2 games in a row? It got asked to Jared Goff, Aiden Hutchinson. Guys, I'm the consumer. I'm sick of hearing that question. Ask something else. I will now, for the 3rd time on my own stream, I'll answer it for you. Today, our newspaper asked, what goes on in the training room in practice that lets you guys fight not to win? Aiden's like, I don't know. Look at his answer. He's like, I don't know. We just practice. Here's the answer. Take it, steal the quotes, and don't credit me. I don't care. Here's the answer. We know the answer. We've asked it 35 times in 2 years. There's no more themes to be deciphered. The Lions do not lose back-to-back games for this very reason. They've targeted players that are uber competitive, like the Doc. Uber competitive. They hate losing. I hate losing. They hate feeling like they didn't put in a hard day's work. They hate the feeling of not winning. The head coach is maniacal. He knows patterns. He knows how to motivate people. So when they lose, they don't come in and cry. They get to work. They figure out what happened. And they go to work to fix it. And that gnawing feeling that makes them feel gross pushes them to practice just a little bit harder. They focus just a little bit more. Their competitiveness comes out. And they play a lot better the next time. A lot of these people don't have that in them because they remember it or they keep asking it. I am the same way. I'm very competitive, not in sports, but I've chosen to put that into media and a website and just seeing more. To me, I'm battling me. So I compete against me. Nobody else. I did this much in clicks last year. I want more. I did this much in revenue. I want more. I paid Vito this much more. I'm going to pay him less. I got to figure out how to cut Vito's salary. I've told him that, the electricity bill's gone higher. Water bills are higher. Internet costs go up. I've paid Vito less. I'm kidding. That's the reason. They have the right personality type so that when they lose, they are not happy. Today, I don't know if there was something going on, but there were not a lot of players talking to the media today. They were not a happy bunch. They're competitive. They don't like the feeling of the whole world calling them a bad team. This is not a hard concept. They lose, it sucks. The media's hard on them. The radio station that's a blowtorch has callers already this week saying Brad Holmes should be fired. They hear that stuff. I don't understand. I'm a consumer and I'm like, 3 more? You guys don't lose back-to-back games. No diddly poo. Add something different. Damn, holy cow. Tomorrow, Kelvin, this whole team is working really hard. You guys don't lose back-to-back games. What is it that you're going to tell them this week so you don't lose back-to-back games? I think they probably heard the stream. The media is probably doing that to troll me. So that I'm just going to stand up and be like, they've already answered this. Oh, what the hell? How do you not write it the first time, bold it, and now you have the answer? They're competitive. They got the right people. They don't like losing. They're miserable when they lose. They lock in, and they fix the problem. How many more different ways other than Aiden say, I don't know, we just come in and practice. Oh, now, listen, this is all speculation right here. And probably 5 more minutes. You guys floated on some comments. I can't attest to the veracity of the truth of this, but you guys said that some fans in the stands saw as Jared Goff was walking with Morton, you guys potentially saw them talking or having some conversations. I didn't see that. It's just an internet comment. I can't, speak to the accuracy of that. But if you're a season ticket holder, if you were at the Vikings game behind the Lions, listen, they're competitive. It happens all the time when plays aren't going right and Jared's on his ass. What do you think he's going to be like? Okay, guys, I'm going to sit there. He's probably yelling like, protect my ass. Get these guys to block. How do we not understand the blocking scheme? So off the record, that probably had to happen. But I cannot attest to the accuracy of those statements. I don't know who made them. They showed up in my comments. So we just say it's assumed. When you play like dog crap, you're going to be not happy on the sideline. Correct? Smash the like button. These are the 3 things. And yeah, Jared was pissed off. I'm sure he was. That's common sense stuff. You don't need sources for that. They played like crap. The banners for today, the topics were, do you want Brad Holmes on the Lone Wolves podcast? Would he answer the tough questions? What do you think about now, 24 hours later? Do you feel less angry about the trade deadline? Have the positive people who write their opinions made you feel a certain way? Are you concerned about the offensive line? I am. I think that winning cures all. Hopefully that Marcus Mariota does not curb stomp the Lions. I think the Lions are going to play better. Leave in the comments. What do you want me to ask John Morton and Calvin Shepard? You know the special teams coach is going to get a talking to about the lack of tackling ability on these kickoffs and punt returns and the fact that the Vikings started on the line side of the field so often. He's going to have a press conference. That's my show. I feel good. 90 minutes. I've been enjoying this. Like I said, I prepare about half hour for the show. I feel like as long as Woodward's on a ban, I feel like I should step in and just give you guys 90 minutes of something live on YouTube. Crunch Time Sports is also, I'll show up there too. Try to bring something a little different to them, but it's a fun time. It's a good time. I'm John Macaroon. I'm the host of the Detroit Lions Lone Wolves podcast. It is made possible thanks to the wonderful staff on SI. They found me and partnered with me and have given me all the resources necessary to thrive, be alive, have a good time, be myself, speak freely, ask whatever I want to ask, show up to the media room whenever I feel like it, travel when I travel. I'm the DOC. And that's what I do. I ask good questions sometimes. I write good stories sometimes. I do good podcasts all the time. If you ever ask, what are you? I'm not a reporter. I'm not a writer. I am a podcaster. That's what I will forever be known as. John Macaroon, the podcaster. That's it. Simple as that. I will go happily as a sports guy that loves sports, love interacting with people, love being a psychologist, but truly love the art of podcasting. Waking up whenever you feel like it, talking about the sports, and interacting with the people to defend your points. That's me, the DOC. Let's talk soon, maybe tomorrow. Do you want me to do this every day? Should I carve out an hour and just do a live YouTube stream every single day? I feel like when you miss me a little bit, then you hop back with a little bit more fervor. Every day, I've always liked the once a week, twice a week kind of thing, but I'm not doing it on live on a schedule. It's when I feel like it, when I have the passion to burn and talk and go. So, so far so good. I'm sticking with it. Yesterday's show was the biggest show. Smash the like button, hit the memberships, ask any questions you want, and I'll try to get to as many as humanly possible. I am a big fan of Detroit sports only. I'm a Spartan for life. And I think that the more I do this, the more you know about me, the more you see how I cultivate ideas and thoughts and raw opinions. And you got to see how I am when I call and talk on the radio. Just as passionate, just as energetic. I light up for this. If you want to have fun, I'm not going to hone in too much on their time. The collective, I believe, should be live now. I'm going to go home, tune into them. Brian, shout out to you, brother. Brian is a regular. Hour and a half, man. You can go check it out. I think this was a good show, too. Go check out Hefe and the collective. They are a little bit more. Hefe asks a question, and they all talk about it. It's a good show. Very, I think, different than what I would present, but I'm very curious to listen to how they throw down. Support Hefe. He is leading what's going on. Got a new member, Daniel. Thank you so much for joining. Man, 25 members in 1 month. That's awesome. Shout out. Yeah, best comments. Glad to finally catch your live again. Hopefully you enjoyed it. What do you like best about it? Before I get out of here, I'll read your last comment, and then I'm getting out of here truly. That's the best part is I schedule it, and I'm always going half hour way over what I want. Phil, you didn't hear the answer? Doc is live. Woodward took a dive. That's how I think I heard it. No, the good fellows over there, I asked them what the hell's going on. They're going on. They got some AI algorithm issues going on. I hope it doesn't ever happen to me, but I want them to come back because I love the heavyweights. Easy is a funny dude, and that guy got better as he did the shows. That guy puts in the work to watch his film, ask questions. He's clearly developing relationships with the right people. Spenny is a grinder. He made life changes. He's a Spartan dog. Those people over there are nice. They greeted me nicely. and help me grow my brand. They put me on a weekly appearance. They're nice people over there. I text their crew quite a bit. Some things I agree with, some things I don't. But in the end, it's all private stuff. But in the end, the changes that they made, I definitely helped. Behind the scenes. Like, hey, that's my video. But they're good people, not through intentional ways of harming at all. Just need to fine tune the respect level. And they did. For Brian, it's the insight, the enthusiasm, and the knowledge. That's all I can ask for. All right, my 90 minutes are up. Please have a good laugh, have a good bourbon, talk to your family, talk sports, be passionate, and be willing to push back on those that tell you to calm down. We're not calm. It's a sports fan base that wants to win rapidly. We are competitive. There is a need to win. There is a yearning. There's an emptiness that is driving this fervor. There's an emptiness that you feel. There is an empty case that has a spot for the Lions Lombardi Trophy. It's empty. And if you've paid money to watch, if you've tailgated, if you've suffered, then you have the right to tell one of these writers, I don't give a crap about the Ravens and Packers and Steelers and all those things you posted on your Twitter page to tell us to calm down. I don't give a crap. All those teams have been to the Super Bowl, bro. I don't care if they made a move or not. I do not care if the Packers made a move. I do not even know if they made a move. I'm happy that Tucker Kraft got hurt. I don't care about the Packers or the Eagles or whatever they do in their moves. I care about one team's move, the Lions. So don't try to pacify this fan base and act like the smartest guy in the room because you think that you can calm people down. Nobody cares about the transactions of the other teams in the league other than the Eagles and the Rams. They're winners. That's it. Oh, it must mean then the Packers don't care about winning. They didn't make a trade. I don't care. They've won Super Bowls. The Eagles have won Super Bowls. Dude, Howie Roseman can draft the worst offensive lineman in the history of sports for the next 5 years. Doesn't matter. He's got 2 rings. He stood up there and said, I'm going to make as many trades as I want. The man whiffed on Justin Jefferson. Am I wrong? The man whiffed on one of the biggest whiffs of all time. Do not let people act like the smartest guy in the room. The fan base has a voice for a reason. To document what goes on in the rest of the league and be like, well, a lot of these other teams don't make moves. They're really difficult to make. I don't care. Make the moves that make the Lions win a Super Bowl. Until they do, we will yell, we will scream, we will analyze, we will critique. We will critique Brad Holmes, the best general manager that's been there. We will critique Dan Campbell. That's a sports fan. Get the message. It's not that hard. Stop with your agenda. Follow the flow, understand the reason, and once you know a little bit more, you can understand why your perspective is just a little bit flawed. So hopefully Brad Holmes shuts us all up, wins a Super Bowl. He can stand up there in front of everybody and be like, I think I will, for the purpose of my own sanity, I will never make a trade in the history of this organization because all of you screamed and yelled for 90 minutes on your podcast for the 48 hours. You got mad that I didn't talk. I didn't make a deal. I didn't need to talk. I hope they win a Super Bowl. But until they do, we're going to microanalyze every single move to the furthest degree. That's what I live for. Dude, like I told you, like these guys don't understand. You were analyzing the draft 2 years ago, bro. Before the Lions got good, you were analyzing who's the next offensive lineman to bring aboard. You were analyzing college film, and you were analyzing DVOA numbers. Like, come on, bro. The team did not get better the last 2 days. They got maybe back to level with 4 practice squad guys. That's my opinion. I could be wrong, but I just detest those that, what do they call it, straw man argument or deflect. Nobody cares what the Eagles are doing other than we respect the Eagles and Howie Roseman because they got a ring. And they're aggressive. And because they're aggressive, they won. We want some level of that. But he's allowed this year not to make a move or next year not to make a move. But don't use that as your explanation why fans should not be livid that this trade deadline went down the way it should. We're livid because we care. And when you care, you might overreact. Does that make sense? Like, I read a couple of columns that were like, well, let's take an analytical look here and let's take it to the degree that let's look at, didn't make a move. And this, like, no, man, we look at one team. Did the Lions address their biggest need, offensive line? They went to the practice squad. I feel like there could have been somebody that if you overspent on another roster that could have come in here and done something. Could be wrong. You never know. But that's my take on it. That's my time. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. Rewind it, interact with it, share it. You guys are friendly and a great group in the chat. I'm liking this chat community. I look forward to checking in maybe Wednesday, maybe Thursday, at the latest Friday. Lone Wolves Podcast.